What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to be comparing and contrasting dry fasting, intermittent fasting, and water fasting, and telling you guys the pros and the cons of each, why one is better than the other, and to see if fasting is for you. With that being said, all of the opinions in this video are going to be my own because I have tried water fasting, I've tried dry fasting, I've tried intermittent fasting, and I just want to let you guys know I am not a doctor in any sort of way. Like I said, this is all from personal experience, how I'm getting all this information and everything. So again, this is my opinion. And also, before you guys ever attempt any sort of fast or anything like that, definitely check with a medical professional or doctor ahead of time, because fasting isn't necessarily for everyone. There's a lot of factors that go into it and it can be very dangerous. So again, definitely check with a doctor first, and I am not one, so don't take everything I say in this video 100%. I'm just saying, again, it's from my own personal experience fasting. And anyways, guys, let's get into it. So to start this video off, I'm going to give you guys a basic understanding of what each type of fasting is. I'm going to start with dry fasting, then move on to water fasting, then move on to intermittent fasting. And then after all of that, we are going to go and start comparing and contrasting all of them. So what a basic definition of dry fasting is pretty much it's when you go throughout a period of time without eating or drinking anything. That's just a basic, like I said, like blanket type definition. Now for water fasting, you can probably figure where it's going. It's you go through a certain period of time by only drinking water. You're not eating anything and not taking in any calories, similar to dry fasting, except now you're adding water and you're able to drink. Intermittent fasting is timed eating, where you're allowed to eat throughout part of the day or a part of a period of time and not during the other part of the time. In terms of time, dry fasting is normally done for the shortest amount of time. Normally you'll see people do either 24-hour, 48 hours, and sometimes even 72-hour dry fast, where again, they're not eating or drinking anything for that whole period of time. For water fasting, normally you'll see anywhere from 48 hours, 72 hours to longer extended periods such as a week to a month. And intermittent fasting, you can get people who will do it for a month, and you can get people that will do it for multiple years, because honestly it is a lot more simple. When it comes to water fasting, dry fasting, intermittent fasting, a big question I get asked is it safe? How safe is it? Things like that. So pretty much it's different for everyone. Like how I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you should always check with a doctor. I was not kidding. This can be very dangerous, and each one for different reasons. Intermittent fasting, I would say, is probably the safest out of all of them. And here, let me explain why. So dry fasting, you're not taking in any water or any calories, any type of food. So pretty much you're getting very dehydrated and you're flushing out your water from your body. And this can be very dangerous because, like I said, you're getting dehydrated and you're gonna get very hot, you can get dizzy and things like that. When it comes to water fasting, you're taking in a ton of water. You're drinking a lot of water, and you can actually drink too much water, and this can kind of cause a lot of problems and, like I said, even potentially lead to death. So it's definitely important, like I said, check with a doctor. Anyways, so they really all have their own side effects and things like that. Like how I said, you can get very dizzy off of dry fasting. When I was water fasting, I would get lots of head rushes. So when you guys stand up and then you get that sudden like blackout or dizzy, and then you're like, whoa. That's kind of something that could happen. Intermittent fasting, the reason it's a lot more, like in my opinion, safe than the other ones, or safer than the other ones, is because how I said that you're eating throughout part of the day and stuff like that, It's because you're being able to like take in the calories, so you're not feeling quite as tired. And so that actually makes up a huge part of why I feel intermittent fasting is overall the safest. Workouts are pretty simple when you're going and actually fasting. A lot of like medical professionals and stuff like that won't recommend exercise necessarily for each one. I think dry fasting is probably the hardest one to actually work out when doing and isn't necessarily recommended, mostly because your body's already burning off tons and tons of calories from not taking in anything, and it's basically just eating off your fats the same way the rest of the fasting for the most part is. But pretty much it's very difficult to work out off of having no water or food. Then when it comes to water fasting, you're able to take in water. So if you do work out, normally you're just going to do some like fast walking, maybe some sit-ups, some simple body weight type exercises. You don't want to do anything too strenuous, if at all. And then when it comes to intermittent fasting, you're able to actually work out. It is the longer option, for like how I mentioned previous. When it comes to how long each is, you're normally dry fasting for the shortest amount of time, water fasting is a medium amount, and intermittent fasting is the longer term. So obviously that kind of affects also how you're able to get results and everything like that. And when it comes to workouts, it's a slower option, intermittent fasting technically. So you have a much higher range when it comes to exercise. In terms of long-term results, pretty much intermittent fasting is going to be the best for long-term. It takes much longer to actually get results and see results from intermittent fasting compared to dry fasting, which you'll see it within the span of a few days, but it won't necessarily be where you want to be. And same with water fasting, where you can gain back a lot of the water weight pretty quickly. Intermittent fasting is definitely the better and safer option in terms of like long term, because I've been saying it a lot in this video. You are able to eat during that time. You just, for example, you eat for like 12 hours and then not eat for 12 hours, and then repeat the next day, things like that. Give or take. Some people do it longer, some people do it shorter. Anyways, but yeah, so that's pretty much what I think is better for long term, because with dry fasting, you're losing mostly your water weight and you can keep that off, but it's not really changing your like appetite and diet. Same necessarily with water fasting. Water fasting is a bit more. I feel when you actually break a water fast, you're taking in less calories because you're used to not eating. Same thing with dry fasting, but I just feel it's a lot easier when it comes to water fasting. And then intermittent fasting, you have to watch what you eat throughout the day. Just because you're fasting or anything like that doesn't mean that you can go out and just pig out on anything, because if you do that, you're only going to gain the weight back, and you're going to gain it back even more. So when you're intermittent fasting, dry fasting, or water fasting, you want to make sure that once it's over, you're watching what you eat, or in terms of intermittent fasting, you want to be watching what you're eating as it's going, and that way you can make it into a lifestyle and not necessarily a diet or a fast. Anyways guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out. Share this video with your friends. Maybe they had questions about one of the types of fasting. Definitely tell them to check this out. Tell them to subscribe, give it a thumbs up. And if you guys have any questions, make sure you comment them in the comment section down below. I'm always trying to answer as many questions as I possibly can. And anyways, I'll see you in the next video.